My name is Versatile, aka the I could be trust, the name you could trust when it comes to all things reactions. You already see the title, you already know what time it is. So we're just gonna get straight into it. If you're new here, you should hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. If you are a returning subscriber, shout you out each and every single time. And whether you're new, old, or returning subscriber, whatever the case may be, the best thing you can do is share, because sharing is caring, right? But anyway, let's get straight into it. Um, I mean, as you already know, I'm going over the whole Diddy trial situation. Now, here's the thing with Diddy's situation, I have to say, Diddy's trial in regards to the US government versus Diddy. I have to put it that way because in 2025, because you never know, there could be another one. Do you understand? There could be another one. But anyway, let's just get straight into it. All right. So June 30th, 2025 was day 33. Now, I could be wrong. It could be day 32 because I know there was a couple days that were missed, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about June 30th for now. All right. So as you are probably aware who the judge is, and you're aware it's a federal trial in Manhattan's Southern District of New York, presided over by Judge Arun Subramanian. I can never pronounce this brother's name properly. I don't understand why. I hope I pronounced it correctly. But anyway, it marked the beginning of jury deliberations after 7 weeks of testimony. Yeah, and that's also 7 weeks of showing evidence, either in favor of the prosecution team or in favor of the defense. Yeah, in either or. All right. Anyway, and by the way, the defense didn't have any testimonies. Like, why didn't Sean Combs, testify? Did he think he will fold under pressure or something? You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Anyway, let's keep it moving. And also, I want you to bear in mind, I will talk about that later. Give me a second, y'all. Um, it marked the beginning of the jury deliberations after 7 weeks of testimony and closing arguments, following a trial that started with jury selection on the 5th of May, all right, and opening statements on the 12th of May, 2025. Sean Combs faced five, get me, I don't know if you can see the five. Get me. My name's not Davido, but five. Five charges on what? Five charges. One count for racketeering conspiracy. RICO with is count one. 2 counts of blank trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. That's counts two and four. And 2 counts of transportation to engage in blank. That's counts three and five. All right. So the jury's deliberation on this day set the stage for the eventual verdict. We'll get into the eventual verdict later, all right? Because I need to clarify a few things. Because the reality is, you know, we need to know how we got here. You understand? This is why I say there's something else I want to say, but I'm going to preserve that information for much later. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. So shout you out. All right. Now, so like I said, one of the key events that happened on this day, all right, is Judge Subramanian delivered a final jury instruction outlining the legal framework for the five charges. Yeah, this followed a charge conference on the June 2025, where prosecutors dropped kidnapping and arson as RICO predicate acts to streamline the case. Now, hear me out. Leave your answer to comment section below. Do you believe that was a strategic move? Now that I'm assuming you already know the verdict. If you don't, that's fine. But if you are aware of the verdict at the time of watching this, or whatever the case may be, do you think that was a very strategic thing that benefits them, or did it backfire on them? Leave your answer in the comment section below. Um, so focusing on blank trafficking, blank bribery, and narcotic distributions. Yeah, the instructions emphasize the jurors must unanimously agree on guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. See, this is where the thing is, reasonable doubt. Yeah, not on some Jay-Z thing where the album Reasonable Doubt and that. But I think this is the key because the reality is it has to be beyond reasonable doubt. Why not? Well, the evidence is there. You're hearing the audio, you're seeing the visuals, and if that links up to, and you're hearing the testimonies, and if that links up to that count, then clearly that person's guilty. Or if it doesn't link up, then all right, they're innocent. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep it simple. Anyway, and for a RICO to prove Sean Combs led a criminal enterprise with at least 2 predicate acts within 10 years. All right, so I know what people are thinking when it comes to RICO. They associate a RICO when it comes to like I said, criminal enterprise. So it's like, okay, how come this person was in charge? How come that person was in charge? Who knows? Listen, if you've been following this case, you would know that particular names have been brought up. Christina Coram, right? Her name has been brought up on so many occasions. D-Rock's name has been brought up. And Christina Coram, you cannot say that she did not know. Like, there's so much evidence that she knew what was going on. Yeah. So the question becomes: did he hire her based on? Did he hire her for the company? Whether it's Sean Combs, what like one of his businesses. Obviously, he's got multiple businesses. He's an entrepreneur, right? So did he hire her for that, or was it a personal assistant thing, or is it she's a friend, or do you know what I mean, or just a link to be able to what like try and obstruct justice more to speak, if that makes sense. Because obviously, if he's doing a crime and he wants to quote unquote get away with it, who's he gonna call? Not the Ghostbusters. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, get me. Anyway, because slime would do it anyway. Let me stop all that. So anyway, the details. Let's get into the details. The instruction clarified the Mann Act violations count 3 and 5 as requiring proof Sean Combs transported Cassie and Jane across state lines for blank, supported by evidence. Yeah, like $2,500 Gucci payments and travel receipts. Now, Gucci, not as in Gucci Mane, Gucci, not as in, you know, the luxury brand as we know of, Gucci as in satin girls. Do you know what I mean? If you've been following, you know what that is for. All right. And for anybody that still believes that Cassie is not so innocent, okay, just bear in mind what this is. I'm going to read this one more time. The instructions clarified the Mann Act violations count 3 and 5. Yeah, 3 and 5. Don't know why my hands disappearing. Anyway, so just bear that in mind. All right, and to support, let me go back. The instructions clarify the Mann Act violations count 3 and 5 as requiring proofs Sean Combs transported Cassie and Jane across state lines for blank, supported by evidence like $2,500 Gucci payments and travel receipts. All right. For blank trafficking, which is count 2 and 4, yeah, prosecutors needed to show force, fraud, or coercion. Now, keyword is coercion, yeah? Pay attention to that word because there was evidence of Sean Combs. Actually, I think it was in regards to Jane. There was an audio of Sean Combs mentioning about coercion. He already knew what he was doing. He already knew what he was doing. Let's keep that in mind. So my thing is keep that in mind. All right. Where was I? So backed by oh look, hold up. Prosecutors need to show force, fraud, or coercion backed by Cassie's testimony, 2016 CCTV footage of her assault. And here's the other thing: how do you explain coercion? What do you believe that is? Leave your answer in the comments section below. I know I mentioned Jane in regards to the old audio and all that stuff there, but as a whole, what do you believe coercion means? All right, because let me, in fact, before you even put your answer in the comment section below, let's put it in this context, right? Imagine, all right. I'm not gonna say names or anything like that because I want you to give a real answer from your perspective on what you believe coercion is. All right. So you have someone who has built up their name in a industry, yeah, any type of industry. Let's just say industry. All right. And they are, give or take, in their, let's say, 40s, right? And then they hire someone, yeah, to actually to hire someone, or they, yeah, because obviously it's their business. All right, so they hire someone that is what, 18, 19 years old. Bear in mind the age difference. Now imagine the person who is hiring is a guy, and imagine the person that's being hired is a woman, and she's 18, 19 years old. Now imagine this woman ended up being love bombed by this particular individual, the person that hired her. And she initially got into the industry because she had love for the industry, or she had skill set for the industry to want to be successful in her career. Watch where I'm going with this. But then, because of the consistent love bombing and the lifestyle, because the person that hires her clearly has money, right? I say clearly, but imagine they have money. Just put it this way: it gets to a point now where she falls in love. All right, it happens. All right, now imagine this. Imagine when you're in love, you want to do everything, or this woman wants to do everything to make her partner happy. Now watch this. Imagine the things and the timing of everything she's doing for her man now is taking away her time from doing her actual job, from what she was initially hired for. Yeah, she may do hit bits here and there, but she's not doing what she really wanted to do. Now imagine the her man or whatever, or and her boss says, if you don't do this for me, then, do you know what I mean? They want to be able to manipulate and control their career in terms of, you know what I mean? Now, imagine they get into a situation that similar to, like I said, I'm not going to mention any names, but in similar circumstances. All right. Now, imagine it gets to a point where for a few times they say no. The woman says no. The moment she says no, she gets violently abused. Yeah. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, all that. She gets abused. Now she knows she's seen another side of this guy. Now, wait a minute. Now, imagine she feels she can help change that guy. Listen, all I'm going to say is this, right? Imagine the same thing reoccurs, but she's afraid to go to anyone else because she feels as though, again, she will be violently attacked, or someone that she speaks to may get violently attacked. Let me ask you this question. is that person, that woman being coerced into doing things for her man that is her boss? Now, would you agree that sometimes it's just best to get financial compensation for time lost and money lost? Fair is fair, right? And obviously, look, when it comes to certain cases like domestic abuse, let's be real. Most times, it don't go exactly the way the justice doesn't happen in the eyes of the Lord the way that it's supposed to go. That's all that I'm saying. All right. So that's all I'm going to ask you in the comments below. Is that coercion? Yes or no? Does that person who's being coerced, do you believe they deserve financial compensation? Obviously, you want to see justice, but get me. But let's keep moving. Let's go. Because a civil lawsuit, by the way, is different from a criminal lawsuit. And when you come across someone who has substantial amount of money, um, the reality is, if you go after them after a criminal trial, what will happen is they have enough money and resources to be able to really defend their case, and you know what I mean. It may not work in your favor. That's just a facts of the matter. Whereas if they are in a position where it's a civil lawsuit, you know what I mean? Then it's a different story. And if they are a public figure, then you know what I mean? It's damaged reputation. Do you know what I mean? Because irrespective, anyway, let me not get into. I'm going off into a tangent. I was meant to ask such a simple question, and yeah, but let me leave answer the comments below. I'd like to know your thoughts. But anyway, I digress. All that talking got me. I'm like, what's the word? I'm parched. Anyway, let's keep it moving. All right, so boom, 2-2s now. So yeah, mentioned about the CCTV footage. The RICO charge required evidence of an ongoing Sean Combs enterprise involving staff. D-Rock is a staff. Remember, he was Sean Combs' bodyguard. Christopher Coram is a staff. He's used many staffs in this case to help him with his. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, like. Anyway, so the judge's instruction were noted as dull but significant. Here's the thing about something about being dull. When you're dull and blunt and get straight to the point, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Because it's clear. Yeah, it's clear. I don't know about you, but for me, that was clear. If I was in the part of the jury team or whatever the case may be, I would have understood that. You know what I mean? Anyway, so uh, so that means that the deliberations are going to be taking place. All right, the so that's pretty much that on that's just one thing, one of the main events that happened. But then obviously the jury deliberations began. Yeah, so it's a 12 member jury, 8 men, 4 women. This, I believe, is one of the issues on these particular cases, right? It almost feels like it's unfair for the victim. And here's why. Or victims. Here's why. Because most people want to say, oh, Cassie's the victim. No, Cassie's not just the victim. She may have been a star witness, but she's not the only victim. You got Jane. You got one person that didn't show up was Gina. Like, where were you, Gina? Like, seriously, get me. In the words of Martin, even though it's different context, different whatever the case may be, damn, Gina, like for real, like this is my personal opinion, all right? My personal opinion. I reckon had Gina been a witness, if she testified against Diddy, I guarantee you the jurors would have a different. It would add to the case, if that makes sense. It would add to more thoughts. Okay, well, that's 1, that's 2, there's 3, that's 4. Like, do you get it? I don't know, but I don't know. But anyway, But obviously, if she was scared to testify, it is what it is, man. So yeah, 8 men, 4 women. I don't know about you, but that's a problem. That's a problem because already, what are they gonna think? Like, that's not a RICO. That's not a man act. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like 8 men and 4 women. It should be all equal. How do you, it should, like? Let me hold on. So it should be 6 men and 6 women. That should be fair. I put listen. If you want an impartial um mindset or whatever the case may be, it's better to have that. Otherwise, it just seems a bit unfair. Like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but let me know what your thoughts are. Anyway, so the deliberating was for around 5.5 hours before adjourning for the day. They were tasked with reviewing evidence from 34 prosecution witnesses, including Cassie, Jane, former assistants, David James, George Kaplan, and the male escorts, plus text, receipt, and 2016 Cassie assault video. Also, I need to keep you in mind that in regards to the male escorts, they are not blank workers. Well, technically they're blank workers but they're not blank workers like that. You know what I mean? For what Sean Combs was hiring them for. You know what I mean? That it wasn't nothing to that was not their job. Because either way, that is illegal. You hear me? That's illegal. I don't care what way you want to put it. I don't care. You want to be like, oh yeah, but it's freaky. No, that's still illegal, bruv. Like, that's illegal. Yeah. Whether it's state law, federal law, that's illegal. It is what it is. Like, that's you're hiring. Anyway, let's just get straight into it. All right. So there was a juror from juror 25. Roughly 1 hour into deliberations, the jury sent a note including one juror, like I said, it was juror 25, was not able to follow the instructions given by the judge. How do you not know how to follow instructions? Like, what is not clear? I want to know what wasn't clear. All right, raising concerns about potential bias or refusal to deliberate. Yeah, after a lengthy discussion, the judge adopted the prosecution's proposed response. I received a note. I remind every juror of their duty to deliberate and their own obligation to follow my instruction on the law. Yeah. With that instruction in mind, please continue deliberating. The note also instructed jurors not to reveal specific deliberation details in future communications. So the thing is, it almost feels like, if I'm going to be honest, if I was going to take a wild guess, yeah, I would say that was a guy. Do you know what I mean? The reason why I say that, yeah, is you got 8 men and 4 women. That make that make sense. How do you not, anyway, let me not speculate. Like, but the truth of the matter is, how can you not understand what it is? Anyway, I'm just realizing what the time is. I'm gonna stay focused. All right, so boom, let's get straight into it. The next thing was on the blank distributions. The jury sent a second note asking about blank distribution as RICO predicate, indicating scrutiny of whether Sean Combs' staff facilitated illegal narcotics using, I already mentioned it, narcotics during blank offs. These questions reflected their focus on RICO charges, complexity, requiring proof of an enterprise and predicate acts like blank trafficking. The judge provided clarification response whose specifics were not publicly detailed. Now, this is the thing as well, yeah. The prosecution team already outlined, yeah, they already outlined before that distribution of a narcotic, yeah, is still considered a predicate act. Yeah, that's still part of blank distribution, like giving it to someone. That literally is distribution. Like, whether it's it is for one particular, or not one particular, even if it's for one situation, like the Blankovs, that's clear. He gave them, you know what I mean? He gave them that. Like, even though you could say yes for personal use, no, he still gave that to them. Like, think, like, I don't think people understand. Like, it just doesn't make no sense. How can you not understand that not to be distribution? How can you forget that? Okay, first, it's been a long day, been a long weeks that they've been going through this trial, this, that, and the third. But if you've been taking notes, which they should have, I'm assuming, um, they would have known, okay, we already know what that is, so we're gonna get me run with that. If they're saying that that is a federal crime, then that's a federal crime because it's very clear that's exactly what's happened. Very, very clear. All right, but you know, all right. So, and then there's a fourth one, which is fourth key event, which is the public dynamics. Sean Combs remained in the courtroom for 20 minutes after the Juror 25 note discussion, appearing composed but attentive. His family, we don't care about that. Let's keep it real. We don't care about that. The media and public, the courthouse was a circus of onlookers, journalists, and podcast. We don't care about that. Let's keep it real. I have all these notes. Don't worry about that. All right, so yeah, that's more or less that on that day, yeah. Because hear me out and hear me out loud and clearly. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'm just this is my personal opinion. It almost like if you don't understand, if you're part of the jury team and you don't understand the instructions that are given by the judge, then clearly you have a personal agenda. You understand? Clearly you have a personal agenda, and this is why I said wait for. There's something else I want to explain. Um, Remember this was on the 30th of June, right? On the 4th of July is what? Independence Day, which is a holiday in America and all that. So it's like, right, okay, because they want you want to celebrate Independence Day, you want to be with your family, you know what I mean? You're tired of being this part of this jury, to be able to go sit through these trials, sit through these testimonies, go through all these evidence. You're tired. You just want it to be over and done with. Yeah. Bear that in mind, yeah. I feel like, do you know what I mean? As a human, let's keep it real. As a human, like if you're going through so much of these stuff, like you're gonna get tired. You're gonna be mentally exhausted. There's not an excuse for them for any juror to do poor deliberation or anything like that. Don't ever get that twisted. But I do want you to keep in mind that's how some people are going to be naturally thinking. You know what I mean? Because like they're not like if it was a jury team of legal professions, like whether they're admin or secretary or whatever the case may be, or a lawyer or attorney, whatever phrase you want to use, like they're fairs. Do you know what I mean? But because I always feel like that didn't make no sense for the jury team. Yes, be split. If it's 12 in the jury, then 6 men, 6 women. That should be that. And then I'm also thinking, right, it should also be a case of attorneys, yeah, or even if it's not just attorneys, it should be ones that are in law school studying, especially for that particular field. You know what I mean? Like that's just my thoughts. Yeah, leave it out to the comments below. Does that make sense to you? Because how can you have the public to be part of the jury team and you're not your but the person who is the defendant, their life is literally hanging in the balance based on, get me, whether they find you guilty or not on certain crimes or certain charges. That's mad to me, especially when you got serious crimes that has been alleged. Nah, you need top, not just top, but you need those of that have studied law. that's just that. Because obviously, if one of the jurors never understood, yeah, clearly someone who studied in law school would understand. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. All right. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below while I set up for the next one. Give me a second.